What is segmentation in Trimble Realworks Forensic? Well, in this week's Trimble Forensics Tech Tip Tuesday, we'll be spending some time in Trimble Realworks working with the segmentation tool, and we'll explain what point cloud segmentation is, how to use it to organize and clean up your laser scan data, and just how to work more efficiently. I'm going to open up Trimble Realworks and we'll get started right after the break. Here's a simple way to explain how segmentation works. We have our pool of data called Project Cloud. In that pool is a bunch of data represented here as letters. We decide what pool we want to pull from, and we want to segment out letters D, E, F, and G and place them in a new pool. Now we want to segment and create another new pool with H, I, and J from the Project Cloud. But now I want to create a pool that has F, G, and H. To do that, I right-click on the Project Cloud and select Get All Points. This refills the main pool with the missing points and allows us to create another pool with a different combination of data that overlaps both Pool 1 and Pool 2. So now that we've explained the concept, let's work on segmenting our data in Trimble Realworks Forensic. So I have my data set loaded up in Trimble Realworks Forensic, and I'll just take a real quick look around what we have. We have a four-way intersection. It just looks like some parasites in here, some people walking through the scene. We've got a couple stop signs here and over on the other side as well. So we've got another stop sign there. And we've got a road sign. And we've got a village sign here. We've got a few things that we want to have in our scene, as well as a house with a car in front of it and a couple cars in the driveway and a playset in the back. So for this scene, what I want to do is I want to grab the car, and I'll grab these two cars as well, and want to grab my road signs. So in my item list down here in the bottom left, we have our Project Cloud, and this is 52 million points and some change. Now this is everything. When I click the light bulb, you'll notice that that is everything. And when I click it back, it turns everything back on. So what I'm going to do is I want to grab my car first. So I'm going to select my Project Cloud because I want to select what I'm segmenting. I'm going to go to my Edit tab. I'm going to click on Segmentation. So now what I'm going to do is just draw a box around the car. And once I've reached here, I'm going to double click, and that will stop drawing a fence. What I will do is I will keep the points inside the area, and it's going to create a small section of data here. I'm going to move around to the side here. I'm going to chop this down just a little bit more. So highlight around, double click, click the green box to select in. And I'm just going to trim around this just a little bit better. And I can just keep going and trimming away until I have the points that I want. So I'll just click along the bottom. And this should get me my car. It looks like one more. Missed a few points on the back side of it. All right, and with that, I'm pretty happy with that. That's got my entire car without any ground in it. So the next thing I want to do is I want to create my new cloud. Now, if I was classifying this, or if I already had classifications built in, I could change the classification of the car. But for this, I'm just going to create a new cloud. Now you notice we have 52,282,000 points. When I click on Create New Cloud, it creates our object, or as it was explained earlier, it is our pool of data. And you notice that our point cloud, or our project cloud, has now reduced by that amount. So we've taken those objects, or those points, out of our project cloud and then put it into an item marked object 1. Now what I want to do is I want to grab another car. So I'm going to move over here. And I want to grab this car here. So I'll just draw a box around it. Keep what's inside. I'll go to a slightly different vantage point. And just to make things easy, I'll just draw a quick box around. And I will keep what's inside. And I'll do one more here. I'll keep what's inside, and we're ready to go. So now I'm going to create another new cloud, and this will be called Object 2. Now, when I'm done with this, you'll notice now that our two cars are here, and they're called Object 1 and Object 2. So I will just call this Car 1, and this will be Car 2. Now, when I turn my project cloud back on, that is everything except for the cars. So right now we're just looking at project cloud, and you'll notice that the point cloud color is right here. To see what we have here as far as our clouds, we can change it to our cloud color. What that will do is that our project clouds, so the things that aren't already assigned as an object, are white, and our car 1 and car 2 are yellow. So it kind of gives you an indication of what you have to work with. So I'm going to turn those off. Now I'm at a point here where I would like to have these two cars as their own data set. But part of my data set is in one cloud already, and then the rest of it is in project cloud. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to right click and I'm going to select get all points, and that's going to repopulate the project cloud with those points we've already pulled out. So from here, what I'm going to do is in my project cloud, I'm going to do a segmentation, and I'm going to grab both cars as a single object. It would help if I change my view. Sometimes changing your view over to perspective, or I'm sorry, parallel projection, will make it a little easier to get parallel with your ground and get in there and get what you need. So I double clicked and I click keep points in. Let's see, we now have a fairly clean object. So I'm going to create that. And it colored this one yellow as well. What I'm going to do is change my coloring for my other cloud here, just so that it's a slightly different color, make it a little easier to see. All right, so I've changed my coloring for my clouds. I'm going to do a group of cars. So now when I exit out of my segmentation tool, I now have a group of cars that are in red. So I'll turn on my project cloud just so we can see what we're working with here. See, we have our car 1, car 2, and group of cars. Now, if we wanted to, with our car here, so it is car 1, if we want to break that up into front and rear, or if we wanted to split this car this way, what we could do is we could take our car, go to our Edit tab and Segmentation. We're just going to split our car in half. And I want to keep the points that are in. That looks good. And I'm going to create a new cloud. Exit. And then I'm going to call this one top of car 1. And now my car 1 is now split into two pieces. So all I'm doing here is I'm just taking one cloud and I'm subdividing it into two. Now, if I don't like that, if I want to put my car back together, so right now I have my car one and top of car one are two separate clouds. What I can do is I can click on car one, control click on top of car. I can right click and merge them back together. And it's going to rename it as merge. I am going to rename it back to car one. And now our car one is back in one piece. And again, keep in mind, our project cloud also has a copy of that data. Since we did the right click and get all points, it has a copy of our data except for our group of cars. What I'm going to do is I'm going to repopulate my project cloud. So I'm going to say get all points, and it's going to bring it back. So what this will allow you to do is really create nice subsets of data that will really make it a lot easier when you go into Reveal. And if you want to have separate objects, you can definitely segment them out here and then export those as separate E57s. Now, something that comes up fairly often when we're working with crime scenes is that we will need to start outside. So a crime started outside, or at least the evidence started outside, and then leads us inside and through some rooms and hallways and, say, out into a garage. And vice versa. Sometimes things start inside, go through the structure, and then come outside. And if you have any experience with Trimble Realworks Forensic, you'll know that we have some auto-classify functions at the very top here. We have auto-classify outdoor and auto-classify indoor. Now, if I try to run one of these against my project cloud, say auto-classify outdoor, what auto-classify outdoor is going to look for is ground building. Building will be the exterior and interior of the building, so it'll try to find the building, poles and signs, power lines, high vegetation, and remaining. And one way to do this would be to run the auto-classify outdoor and have it classify the building, and it will put the building in its own cloud. From there, we can run the auto-classify indoor against just the building. But what I'm going to do here, just to save some time, is I'm going to take my project cloud, and I am going to go to a top-down view. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to segment out my building. So with my project cloud selected, in my edit tab, I'm going to run segmentation. And I am just going to draw a real quick shape around my building and my building only. And I'm going to keep what's inside. That looks good. That has my building. Now, since we didn't go inside of the building here, we don't have anything inside to classify. What I'll do is I'll create that object. And I'll just call it house. And now from here, I'm set to run my auto-classify indoor against that cloud. And that will then extract those features from that data set. And again, my project cloud has everything in it. I want to bring everything back. So I'm going to get all points. That'll bring my house back. And now I'm set to start working on something else. So this is a real quick way to leverage the auto-classify indoor and outdoor functions. If you only want to run one of them and have it exclude a certain part, you could chop out or segment out the thing you don't want to run it against, and then run the project cloud through the auto-classify outdoor before getting all remaining points. You could then run that without the house being included in that auto-classify outdoor feature. Now, when we use the auto-classification feature of Trimble Realworks Forensic, we're using the software to perform an automated segmentation for us. The points in the project cloud pool are replenished, and the tool creates subsets of data that we can further segment or leave as is to export or reveal. Hopefully you have a better understanding of how the Trimble Realworks segmentation tool works. If you found this video to be useful, be sure to hit the like and subscribe, and if you have any questions, be sure to put them in the comments section below. Stay safe, and I'll see you next week.